a new episode from On Down the Road Productions. Terry here, of course. In a few moments here, we're going to be joined by Teresa and Piper. Piper will get right behind me, and Teresa will ask me some questions about why now is the time to buy a 5th generation 4Runner before the model run is complete and done. Guys, thank you for being here, being with us for this episode. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and let's get into this.
20 minutes later.
1, 2, 3. Hey everyone, welcome back, and today I've got some help. Awesome. Piper's gonna nose bump me from behind, and Teresa's gonna ask me questions, and I think you can see Piper right there. She loves our truck. And this episode, Teresa is gonna ask me questions about why you should buy a new 5th generation 2023 4Runner now. Teresa?
Hey Terry, why are you recommending that now's the time to buy the 5th generation 4Runner?
Well, because time is almost up. If you buy now, there won't be the increasing price pressure on the final 5th generation 4Runners left in 2024. Right now, with the interest rates and the way our economy is going, you may be able to get a price break on some of the different 5th generation 4Runner models that are available in 2023. But waiting until there are literally no 2024 4Runners left, I think will be detrimental to a buyer financially, given the strong reputation the 5th generation 4Runner has for value, durability, and quality.
Okay, and then what about the new colors for 2024? What do you think that means?
Well, you know, I've worked for companies like General Motors, Volkswagen, and Nissan, just so you guys know, and typically when they get to the final model year for any vehicle, they will add some new colors. In the case of every other car line except the 5th generation 4Runner, that makes sense, right? If you introduce a few new colors, it's not a great expense for an OEM, and it does create some interest in the final model year. In this case, introducing new colors for the 5th generation 4Runner in 2024, like that new cement gray color, doesn't mean it's going to be a full production model year.
Okay. And then were there going to be any changes between the 2023 and the 2024?
They're relatively same except for the color changes. Me, I'm wishful and hopeful for like maybe a final edition to be announced Cavalry Blue version, for example, something like that. Not a repeat of the 40th anniversary edition. I'm hoping Toyota slips out a surprise 5th gen before the 6th gen comes.
Okay. And then the 6th gen is going to be the turbo?
Yeah, that's right. So I have a video. We have a video here at On Down the Road Productions calling out the disadvantages to owning a turbo. So one, if you live in a state like Colorado where there's high elevation roads, I get it wanting a turbo. But the true fact here, the true up on this situation is that if you turbo a V8 or a V6, you're going to be better off than turboing a 4-cylinder. The lower the cubic inches, the harder it is for a block to withstand the stress of a turbo. And to get the maximum power of a turbo, the motor's got to be very warm, and it needs to be at the upper end of its RPM limit to really get the advertised horsepower from it. I don't know how that's going to work in overlanding and four-wheel drive land, placing a small 4-cylinder in a truck like the 4Runner that's coming out, the 6th gen. So I don't think I'd want a turbo at all. Turbos are expensive to repair, and they're problem prone usually after 40,000 miles, and they require frequent oil changes. A lot of people buy vehicles that don't even think about changing their oil until the last minute. So if you do that with a turbo, you're setting yourself up for lots of internal wear and leaking issues. And on a small block like a 4-cylinder, I don't see that being a winning proposition. But I have said conversely, if I was buying a sports car, a small sports car, I'd be more than happy with a turbo, and I would change the oil every 3,500 miles. That's a little bit different, but when you take a 4Runner and load it up with gear and accessories, and all you've got under the hood is a turbo 4-cylinder, and that turbo is not always active or is active 24/7, I think we're looking at motor problems down the road. Historically, look at every turbo made in every car and truck prior to today, and you'll see that I'm right.
All right. And then what is your top best reason to buy now?
Well, you know, I always say, and we've said in other videos, I like to be a consumer advocate. I've been really hard on these auto companies for raising their prices and continuing to make junk and unreliable powertrains, high recall laden vehicles, and the 4Runner doesn't fall into this category. It's priced in the midpoint, you know, 40s, 50s, as long as you don't get a TRD Pro. And right now, with the high interest rates, lots filling up. I know Toyota doesn't have an issue like that, like the other companies do, but you might get to a salesman that'll work with you on the price of a 4Runner right now. But as that clock is ticking and that 6th generation comes out next February or March, and it will look very much like the Tacoma, the new Tacoma, there's going to be, you know, these dealers know what a great vehicle the 5th generation 4Runner is. So I think prices are going to go up on the 5th gen. The final ones that are left will go for top dollar.
All right. Anything else?
All right, so let's wrap this episode up. So I think you guys know I've had access to the Las Vegas trade show where the 6th generation 4Runner was rolled out. It's going to be a clone-like Tundra GM-looking kind of truck. The 6th generation might have a better interior than the 5th generation, but you just cannot beat the 5th generation for quality. And the internet is flooded, and magazines are flooded with loaded up V6 4Runners doing just fine. I just don't see that from a turbo 4-cylinder. Maybe initially, but as these turbo 4-cylinders live their lives with all this extra duress on their blocks and on their turbo systems, I just don't see it being like the current 6th generation 4Runner. I don't see it being like the current 5th generation 4Runner. Furthermore, you can buy the 5th generation 4Runner knowing you're getting a vehicle made in Japan that truly is a #1 quality vehicle. The 6th generation 4Runner, from my understanding right now, will be made in Mexico. A year back, they did increase the size of the plant. I'm 97% confident right now that you're going to get Mexican-made 4Runners to go alongside the Mexican-made Tacomas. Other channels have said that Toyota Japan doesn't care about North America. I don't think they do. The new Tundra is a debacle. I'm sure when this 6th generation 4Runner comes out, we're going to see the same issues that the 6th generation had. Turbo lag, low quality, squeaks and rattles in the interior, wind noises, and whatever other problems, or refusal by Toyota to honor their warranties when people take the new 6th generation out into the wild and there's an issue. So I want you guys to think about that. Thank you for...
I got another question.
Oh, go ahead.
So you said something interesting about you don't think Toyota Japan cares about the North American audience. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's just we're complacent with spending $100,000 on a truck that doesn't last 5 years, and so there's just not enough American buyers that are really truly seeking a quality product? I mean, what do you think that is?
Well, I worked in General Motors North America, and we really didn't think of the other regions globally except for financials. I think Toyota Japan is the same way, and I think Toyota has a degree of arrogance with their success, and they think that the North American market knows what they're doing with their trucks. So the Tundra, to me, the new one, looks like a GMC Sierra. The new Tacoma looks like a downsized GMC Sierra, and I think this is wrong from the Toyota perspective, and I think they're making these vehicles in Texas and Mexico. I think the #1 pickup in Texas right now is the Chevy Silverado and the GMC Sierra, and I just think, you know, making your vehicles look like a product that has low quality is not the right thing to do. I really wish that Toyota had made the new Tundra to be a transformational old Tundra, not a GMC clone copy, not so expensive. So
Is the Sierra the #1 selling truck in North America? Is that why?
no, I think the F-150 is. I'm just saying, you know, when you take Sierra and Silverado together, their sales mean #1. And they love Chevy pickup trucks in Texas. I know this already.
Why do you think that there could be quality issues because they're manufacturing it in Mexico?
Well,
What do you think is the difference between do you think it's a maturity level that the auto workers in Japan have are much more mature in how they approach development of vehicles and working for an automotive company, whereas in Mexico maybe the labor's not as mature, and that is why there's still some ways to go in making sure that the plants in Mexico can deliver the same quality?
It's cultural, totally cultural. There's a lot of pride. in
So
these
it's labor
Japanese plants.
maturity.
Well,
You think
I'm
it's
not even
labor
going to say
maturity?
labor maturity. I'm just going to say the Japanese work ethic
Well,
is
yeah,
excellent
yeah.
in their plants. And when you bring in a bunch of low-skilled labor in Mexico, and do they care as much about their jobs as they do in Japan? The answer is no. And you can say the same thing about
and-
North American jobs.
And do you think it's because the market's just not, or the labor force just isn't as mature around building the cars, so the pride's not there yet?
Well, that too. With what they're paying these Mexican workers, can they even afford to buy what they produce? So there's a lot of resentment they're walking in the door with. And these trucks are being flooded into the United States and Canada. And when you have a start of regular production, the first year is never perfect for anybody. And it just seems like the first and second year for the Tundra were just as bad as they have been for American manufacturers.
How involved do you think the Japanese production system is in the plants in Mexico? Do you feel like they're doing that knowledge transfer?
Well, I can't say 100%, but I don't think so,
Maybe
given
that's
what happened
something
to
for
the
you to
Tundra.
look into.
Maybe, but that's confidential company information to Toyota that I wouldn't have access to. But I am saying that I won't buy a Mexican-made vehicle at all. So forget me on a 6th generation 4Runner made in Mexico, and I'll stick with a Japanese-made vehicle. For what they're charging for the prices of vehicles, I think it's downright embarrassing that these companies are making vehicles that barely last 3 to 5 years.
Do you think the globalization of the automotive market, where you could have a car that's built in Japan, but you could be getting parts in there from suppliers that are building parts in Mexico or someplace else, do you think the globalization of the supply chain is diluting the quality of the cars also?
Oh yeah, look at all the GM vehicles with Chinese brakes and other Chinese parts in them, and look at all the GM recalls. I don't want anything with Chinese parts on it. I don't think anyone does. Chinese parts are the worst.
What are the odds that you have some Chinese part, though? I mean,
And
you don't
this?
know. You don't
Zero.
know.
No, I do know actually. This is all Japanese. I don't think so. Hey guys, thanks for watching another episode from On Down the Road Productions with Teresa and Piper, and really appreciate your support of our channel and platform, your likes, subscribes, and shares. And remember to take care of each other, do the best you can, and until our next episode, you guys have a great day. We think of you.